This is the best mobile work table for about $100. And the reason why it's about $100 is because VEVOR makes these in so many different sizes. And depending on when you're watching this, some models may also be on sale. I also said that it's light duty, but it's really medium to light duty because this top shelf here has a weight capacity of 400 pounds and the bottom shelf comes in at 300, which again is gonna depend on which table that you actually get. These are just the specs for the 24 by 30 model. Now I haven't tested out that weight capacity because even half of that is gonna be more than enough for whatever I'm gonna use this table for, which is gonna be assembling smaller parts as you see here, or even swapping out the filter during an oil change. Because this is stainless steel, it's gonna make cleanup so much easier. So if there's any oil, dirt, grit, grime, whatever gets on it, it's gonna be super easy to clean up. But what I really wish that I had this table for is when I did the valve cover gasket job on the M235i. If you watch that video carefully, you'll realize that I put a lot of parts on the floor because not even my big tool cabinet was enough to house everything in an organized manner. If I had something like this, I would have had at least 2 more sections to keep me organized. And then when I loaded it up, I could have pushed it off to the side until I needed it, roll it back, and then work on the car with those parts at an elevated position. It would have totally sped up the workflow and definitely helped me stay organized with that job. And the reason why I wouldn't label this work table as heavy duty is because of everything happening here at the bottom. After assembling it and engaging the lock, you can see there's a little bit of play here. Because my original idea was to mount my vise onto this work table, but if I'm clamping onto something and sawing a piece of wood, I don't think that that's going to give me precise cuts. And the other thing that I noticed as I was putting it together is that the insert that holds the nut that the casters then thread onto is a nylon piece. So if I'm hammering on something on the anvil section of my vise, I don't think that this piece is gonna hold up. But getting the vise on here would have just been icing on the cake because what I really needed was a work table with this specific set of dimensions that had a high bottom shelf because this is all the space that I have left on my garage wall. But in that specific part, I have a lifting table that I need this table to roll over in order for it to be flush against the wall. That way I can get both cars into here without any issue. And I'm also fortunate that it fits in that area over the lifting table, but I can fit in the vacuum, scan tool, and tire inflator in here without any issue because I do use these pretty often. And as far as assembly is concerned, this thing shouldn't take you any more than 20 or 30 minutes depending on if you have help, because this is packaged up pretty good in terms of its compactness as well as all the packaging material you have to get through. So we should have 2 sets of legs, one with holes in them, and this is gonna be at the bottom section with our wheels, as well as one with an indent. Starting off with the one with the indent, we're going to take this triangular piece with the edge facing up and sliding down the long end until it meets that indent. We're going to put it at each corner. Then with the 5mm hex, tighten down each leg with 3 of the short screws. And now we can place on the bottom legs, which we want the holes to come out diagonally from each corner. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, but it'll just require less rotation for the bottom shelf later. And now we can bring in the bottom shelf, and out of the 3 positions we have here, I'm gonna place mine at the very top. And ideally, if you had a second set of hands, you would place the bolt through the bracket, through the leg, and through the shelf, then secure it in with the nut. But if you're doing this by yourself, you can just secure each corner with the bolt, then go back in with the bracket and nut afterwards. And as you're tightening this down, each leg may shift as you're tightening another. So I would say walk in each leg a little bit before tightening it down all the way. And as each bolt gets fully tightened down, you will start to see that outer flange start to take the shape of the leg that they're on. And now we can place on our wheels, which all 4 of them are swiveling, but only 2 have locks on them. So for my specific purpose, since this is going to be against the wall most of the time, I want the locks to be at the front of the table. However, you can place them in any configuration that you want because the thread is the same for the locking and non-locking. So I will say that I do wish that we could have gotten a wrench on each of these, but as best you can, tighten down each one hand tight. And now it's time for us to flip this onto the ground, which shouldn't be all that big of an issue because it's not really that heavy. Then of course, the most satisfying part, taking off the plastic cover. Now your work table is all set, and if you want to see another garage essential, check out this video, and I'll see you in that one.